fears of recession are growing, showing up in the stock market.
GDP, first quarter, is a nasty minus 1.4.
Gas prices, shocking drivers at the pump.
People can't afford to pay their bills.
Inflation is much too high.
A recession is when your neighbor loses his job.
If you stay ready, you ain't got to get ready.
The most important thing to remember is not to panic. We've helped our clients through this before, and we're going to get through it again.
Everyone, regardless of your stage in life, is impacted by recession. With the proper plan, we're going to get through this together.
Welcome back to the Recession Survival Guide. I'm Michael Smith.
And I'm Scott Bishop. You know, Mike, last time when we were talking in the last session of the Recession Survival Guide, we talked about layoffs. With the recessions, many times companies have to downsize and have layoffs. We said, what does it mean to you? Back when I wrote the framework in 2019 for the Recession Survival Guide, I talked quite a bit about, a recession means different things to different people at different stages for life, from the beginning to those already in retirement. Today, I thought it might be a good idea if we focused on maybe those at the beginning of their career.
Wow, beginning of the career, Scott, you and I have to go back a long ways. It feels like a lot's changed. Obviously, we've gotten much older and much wiser, but if I had to go back and kind of look at my younger self, what are some of the questions you would actually, and questions and comments and things you would talk to somebody earlier in a career as far as preparing?
Well, again, those are the types of things. The less you have in the bank, the less resources you have, the more impactful something immediate would be. You know, losing a job. Again, that's why we did, the Layoff Survival Guide.
Sure.
But for those, when we're dealing with a recession, we're not talking about layoffs this time, but recession, you need to figure out, where am I? Am I building up debt? Do I have money saved in the bank? Sure. Am I doing those things I need to get started on the right foot? Those are the types of things you want to look at. Usually what you want to make sure is starting to make sure you have some type of emergency fund. If things like right now with inflation get more expensive, there's a job interruption, maybe later this year you're expecting a bonus that maybe doesn't materialize, having some of that money in the bank and having some ability to withstand a downturn is very helpful.
Well, this is also probably the time that you may be starting to get loans. You're looking out there to maybe get a car, maybe get a house at some point, getting an apartment. You need to make sure your credit scores in good standing. What do you recommend, or what is some of the comments you have as far as credit scores?
Well, that's really good. So some things you're alluding to, I talked about in planning through life stages to avoid money worries. We'll put a link to that article. And at this early stage in life, I call it the foundational stage, setting a strong foundation for that planning pyramid that will work very well. So what you want to do is you want to make sure you have cash in the bank. You want to make sure you know what debt you have. You know what kind of debt you want to pay off. It gets very difficult if you want to get a car, you want to get an apartment, everything, even a new job, they may check your credit score. So knowing what your credit score is, going to some of the websites on there like myfico.com, not a recommendation, but it's one of those ones you could look at. You can go to the credit bureaus and see if everything on your credit report is right, because the last thing you'd want is needing to find a different apartment and find out your credit was bad. Needing outstanding credit to be able to pay some bills in a pinch and not having good credit, so the interest rates are very high. Getting those types of things are good, and some people really worry about paying down the debt too quickly or maybe getting another credit card. Understanding how those things impact your credit, such as shutting down credit cards too quickly, can actually have, even though you would think it would be good, but an adverse impact on your credit.
No, those are good things. Well, and this also gets me to thinking you got to start prioritizing your spending, setting some goals. Now it's you got to be responsible, right? Is this the first time in your life you got to be responsible early in your career? And setting goals, I think, is important. I remember early stage in my career, many of my friends, some did better, some did well, and you know what? You just saw them spending, keeping up with the Joneses. And I think this is a time to prioritize spending so you can start saving, get ahead of them. If you can go back and start saving at an early age, we all know the time is such a big impact on savings, and especially being able to go through a recession or go through anything. Prioritizing spending is going to become important. What other comments you have on that?
Well, Albert Einstein was quoted once to have said, one of the biggest and most powerful force in the universe is the magic of compound interest. It's time in the market, not specifically timing the market. And so many young people are going into day trading. I think it's a real interesting way to learn how markets work, both on the good sides and bad sides. But most people can make money long term, whether it be in their company's 401k, a savings plan, by actually having forced savings. But one of the things you want to take a look at in this foundational model is take take a snapshot of where you are right now. What are your assets? What are your liabilities? For most of those people, their biggest assets are the ability to earn an income.
True.
And making sure they actually can look at that and make sure they know what they want to do. Many people these days have student loans. Should I start paying those down? People start getting a job. They have a 401k plan. They go, how much should I save? What percentage should I save? I'm always a big believer of having a savings budget, making sure you save what you need to hit your financial goals and objectives before you buy that new shiny car or that bigger apartment.
Well, as I've heard you say many times, Scott, and early in my career, the pay yourself first. I mean, that's such a huge statement. Many people don't think that. You can look through your paycheck, you see all these people that are paid, all the taxes, you know, FICA, FUTA, SUTA, all these things that are taken out. But you got to remember to pay yourself first. And I think one of the biggest things you can do is automatically have it deducted and put into a savings account. Some of the most successful people that I've seen amass good savings, they did that early on. And I think that's one of the most successful things you can do.
I think that forced savings, whether it be dollar cost averaging per paycheck into your 401k plan, figuring out whether that should be a traditional 401k that's tax deductible. But for many of the people early in their career, their incomes aren't very high. Maybe the Roth 401k is a better option, knowing those types of things. But you could also do things, and many times your HR department can allow a portion of your paycheck go to your checking to pay your bills, and a portion to go to savings to start building up that emergency fund that we always talk about.
You know, Scott, these are all great things, and I think you know, if somebody young and early in their career, they listen to these things earlier on, they'll be successful longer term.
If they ask their parents, they would say, I wish I was your age and knew what I knew now.
Oh, we all say that all the time. I wish.
Well, I think this was really good information, Mike. I think on the next one, we can go to that next stage. Maybe those people that already have gotten married, maybe have children. What are the things they need to plan for?
Sounds like a good plan.